So anyway, I'd like to introduce our next panelist, who is Denise Spencer. Thanks, Denise. Come on. All right, great.
I'll just have to make some minor adjustments. Apparently, they weren't prepared for me. So I have two books. Can you hear me now? Okay. Good morning, everyone. Thank you to the 5 o'clock Club for inviting me here today. I'm really excited to be here. Hello to everybody on the panel. I wanted to talk about engaging our multi-generational workforce in a changing world. But first of all, let me tell you a little bit about my world, where I come from. MRO stands for Maintenance, Repair, and Overhaul, meaning that the aircrafts that you fly on come to us for repair. We take it apart down to the fuselage, seats, everything comes out, and sitting on the outside of the plane, you don't want to see that. And then our wonderful group of technicians put it all back together. And then when it's leaving, just like a baby or your kids leaving college, they all line up to watch the aircraft fly away. Now, some of my struggles, as you can tell, I need to have an extremely engaged workforce because the aircraft must go up when it's supposed to and come down when it's supposed to, not before. The last time I checked, and I do a lot of flying, there are no parking lots in the sky, so the pilot can't say to you, ladies and gentlemen, this is your pilot speaking, we're just going to pull over, we have a flat tire here. I'm sure you don't ever want to hear that. So employee engagement is on the forefront of what we do in my organization. We struggle, as Tom was talking about, we struggle to find talented people because apparently aircraft maintenance or avionics or whatever it is that we do is not something that's taught in high schools. So what we've done, we've partnered with, we start with the middle school level where we're introducing these students to what we call the STEM program, S-T-E-M, which stands for Science, Technology, Engineering, and Math. And we bring them into our organization. We let them get inside the aircraft so they can have a feel for what it's like and to see an aircraft up close and personal. And then we also partner with high schools to get these students interested in working with aircrafts, in avionics or aeronautical engineering or whatever. Now, my question to you this morning is, how many people here have an organization where most of your employees are engaged? Show your hands. Most. Bless your heart, lady in the peach sweater back there. We need to talk. The critical question I want to ask you today is how many of you that are present here are engaged in your organization? Because engagement starts with the man in the mirror or the woman. Now, you cannot have an engaged organization if you, as the leaders, are not engaged. So first of all, please ensure that you are engaged. There's 5 questions that I want to, and I didn't realize that these lights would have been so sexy, or I would have done other things. Can I say that? There's 5 questions I'd like for you to ask is, what is engagement and why is it important? That's question number 1. How can employers recognize employee engagement? 2, how does age affect employee engagement? And as Tom mentioned, we all know that age does. Well, actually, it affects a lot of things. What are the drivers for engagement in the different generational groups, and what can employers do to maximize employee engagement? Employee engagement is a tough topic. It's hard. It's not easy to accomplish. It's not easy to achieve. There's no 1, 2, 3s or ABCs. You don't wake up and you do one flavor of the month and all of a sudden your people are engaged. That's not how it works at all. In order to get the air or the attention of top management, you need to make a case for employee engagement within your organization. Because normally, it doesn't get a lot of press and it doesn't get a lot of support or financial support for that matter. So you have to make a case for what it is. And how do you make a case with top management? As you all know, show the numbers. Talk about cost and show numbers. Am I correct, Tom? You get their attention immediately. Engagement is ongoing, and engagement should start during the hiring process. Does that make sense? You start to try to engage people from the onset. There's also some benefits of engagement, and we'll talk about that later: performance, retention, and creativity. And when those increase, we all know that that goes directly to where? The bottom line. I want you to ask yourself, is employee engagement a priority in my organization? Is it a priority in your organization? Because that is very important. Because Tom, going back to what Tom said, he was the numbers guy, and I knew he would be, so I don't have any. So as we all know, it's that it translates to dollars. It's viewed as a soft topic. That's why it's not giving the right attention. Management are often have their heads buried in the sand because they think that the employees are more engaged than they really are. A lot of people are overwhelmed by this engagement stuff. What is it? How do we accomplish that? They don't know where to start. An organization hesitates to devote dollars to this whole engagement stuff. There are certain mistakes, however, that we all have employee surveys, yes, or engagement surveys, or whatever fancy terms we want to call them. But what happens, what do we do with these results when we get them? A lot of times we fall short because we get the results and we do things about whatever the employees are asking, but we don't communicate that. So even if we fix something, they don't really know, correct? So therefore, we're not tackling the pieces of what the employees are telling us. In essence, we're not listening in order for us to address the stuff that will improve engagement in our organization. One size does not fit all, as we know. So therefore, you can't just have an employee engagement package and expect that it's just going to translate down the business and everybody is going to be engaged the same way. Because, and I'll talk about it in a little bit, there's several things in the action plan that I have for you for engagement that we'll talk about that are drivers for engagement. It's a new day, ladies and gentlemen. Times are changing. The workforce is changing. And most of you, if you don't have any millennials, they're coming to a theater near you. Buckle up. I have been fortunate enough to raise 2 of them. Thank God for a lot of things that I can't talk about here that has certainly helped me through this process. So therefore, I'm prepared for the workforce. I hope you are. Because in order to engage these, first of all, they have the attention span of a gnat. And for those of you in this audience who have not mastered the art of texting, get with the program. Because this is how you probably will have to communicate with these folks. Okay? Secondly, do not expect them to send out any memos because they will not be able to spell. I'm warning you. The landscape, ladies and gentlemen, is changing. The work itself is changing. Therefore, we have to be able to change the way we go about stuff. As HR folks, sometimes we can be a little rigid in how we do things, and it's about the law. But we can't change the law, but we can change certain things about how we operate and how we do business. Because if we fail to change, then we're going to have a mass exodus. There's going to be people, because, as Tom said, they're already looking. Probably some of you are too. Talent management is changing. How we recruit people are changing. And when you recruit these fantastic folks, because people who are very, very talented, you have to keep them engaged. They get bored, and as we say in the MRO, they retire in place, RIP. That means that they stay, but they're really not doing much. Just enough to stay right there under the radar so they don't get noticed. And that, my friends, is costing you a lot of money. Know your numbers. It's very important. Research has shown that 1 in 3 of your employees are engaged. Engaged employees are 30% more likely to agree that they regularly accomplish more than what is expected of them. 73% more likely to agree they're committed to the organization. 38% are likely to agree that they're not afraid to try new things at work. Hopefully, whatever the new things they're trying helps the bottom line. 39% say that they would stay in their organization if they were offered a similar job at another organization with 10% raise. Apparently, they haven't spoken to my folks. Over half of employees in North America feel stressed. 1 in 3 feels burnt out or depressed. Absenteeism as a result is costing employees billions, according to SHRM. If your employees are stressed, burnt out, depressed, or whatever it is, are they going to be engaged? Are they going to be doing what they're supposed to? Probably not, because their minds are going to be focused on other things. Ask yourselves, what percentage of my employees right now in my organization are engaged? Because you probably will be surprised. Their potential cost of a disengaged employee that leaves your company, and you'll get a copy of the presentation, so you'll have that. The base salary and benefits, when you calculate that, everything I think about costs a lot because our margins that we work with are very small, so we're constantly looking at costs. Base salary and benefits, lost revenues, lost productivity with increased sick days, leave days, shortened work days. Managers spend their time discussing and documenting additional performance. Let's quantify that number. What's the cost? HR time for coaching, opportunity costs, missed sales, disgruntled customers, delayed unfinished projects, and the impact on the employee's productivity. For me, in my organization, my customers, when their aircrafts are not flying, they're not making any money. So therefore, I need to turn around their aircrafts in a certain amount of time, 17, 18 days, or else I'm going to have to pay them for keeping it in my shop. So therefore, I need to have these people that are on top of their game and doing what they need to. Understanding employee engagement, there's a difference between a satisfied employee and an engaged employee. You're satisfied, you're okay, things are good, I'm all right. When you're engaged, a satisfied employee thinks about what they get from the company. An engaged employee thinks about what they give to the company. This blue sheet that you have, it talks about 4 levels of engagement. People who are actively engaged, and I've given you some examples of what those are: engaged, not engaged, or disengaged. And then there's some questions at the back for you. And also, I'll give you the roadmap. You'll get it in the presentation that talks about the engagement drivers. And also, in conclusion, in order for you to have an engaged workforce, you need to hire right, promote wisely, manage effectively. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Denise. It was such a great reminder to hear that engagement needs to be tailored, especially with a new generation coming into the workforce. So thanks for that and for the comments about measurement. That was really appreciated hearing that.